It could be the moment when a rematch that few seem to want finally comes to life. Like two aging prize-fighters, Joe Biden and Donald Trump will enter the arena of political bloodsport on Thursday evening to resume a verbal sparring bout that will revive memories of the ugly exchanges when the two debated face-to-face 4 years ago. A CNN studio in Atlanta will host the first presidential debate of the campaign between the same two candidates who contested the last election, which Biden won. With more than 4 months to go until polling day in November, it is the earliest in any U.S. presidential campaign that a debate between the two main candidates has ever been staged. While some see the timing as premature, it could provide a chance to open up a contest that has become overshadowed by, among other things, Trump's recent felony conviction, as well as assorted other legal travails that see him facing 54 criminal charges for trying to overturn the last election and for retaining classified documents. Knife-edge polls indicate a race essentially tied, with a national polling average for May and June showing the candidates at 46% each. Polls in 7 key battleground states, Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Nevada, Arizona, Georgia, and North Carolina, give Trump a narrow advantage, though usually within the margin of error. Trump rehashes baseless claims about Biden in barrage of pre-debate bluster. Read more. For non-Trump supporters, it is a troubling scenario given he incited a violent insurrection against the U.S. Capitol to stop Congress certifying the results of the 2020 election that he refused to accept that he lost, despite Biden winning by more than 7 votes. Both candidates are deeply unpopular, Trump because his opponents see him as an aspiring dictator who threatens democracy, Biden because, at 81, although just 3 years older than his Republican opponent, he is viewed, even among many Democrats, as too old for another term as president. Both will attempt to change their respective narratives in the debate. Trump, openly hostile towards immigrants, will probably attack Biden over an uptick of migrants at the border, despite Biden's recent moves to tighten it. But Trump advisors know he needs at least some moderate voters to win, and will be hoping he can tone down his most virulent rhetoric, such as saying immigrants are poisoning the blood of our country. Biden, for his part, will be aiming to dilute criticism of his age with an energetic performance along the lines of his State of the Union address earlier this year. He could be prepared to go on the offensive regarding Trump's criminal record, and for how Trump takes credit for stacking the Supreme Court with conservatives in order to overturn the right to abortion. The stakes for both could not be higher. We have a majority of voters who are unhappy with the incumbent, but they don't have great recollection of what the prior officeholder did either, said Patrick Murray, head of the Polling Institute at Monmouth University. That sets us up for a very tight race where people just don't know when they want to go. Very rarely do you have anything like 18, 19, 20% of an electorate who say, as they do now, I don't like the fact that I could vote for either one of these. We've only seen this phenomenon one other time in living memory, which was 8 years ago, with the Clinton-Trump race. The two men will meet in transformed circumstances from 2020, when the world was still grappling with the early stages of the COVID-19 pandemic and associated lockdown rules limited political campaigning. Since then, Russia has invaded Ukraine and Israel has become embroiled in a long and devastating war in Gaza, developments requiring U.S. military aid and diplomatic commitment. The lingering effects of inflation, fueled by COVID-era public spending, is partly dousing the otherwise rosy economic situation, pulling down Biden's approval ratings even as the U.S. outgrows other developed economies and unemployment sees historic lows. Meanwhile, Biden, contrary to his pre-election promises, has embraced some of Trump's fiercely anti-immigrant policies by temporarily shutting the southern U.S. border to a tide of asylum seekers should a number of daily crossings be exceeded. Many of these changes have rebounded to Trump's advantage, with polls showing a majority favoring him on the economy over Biden, a trend Murray attributed to rosy retrospection. After newsletter promotion. You think you're not happy with the way things are right now and you automatically remember the past as having been better. We're seeing that now with Donald Trump, he said. When we ask voters, looking back to Donald Trump's presidency, to approve or disapprove of the job he did, he gets 48% approval. He never got a 48% approval rating when he was president. Trump's Achilles heel, and the possible key to Biden's salvation, may lie in arguably the most startling domestic change to have happened since the last election, the U.S. Supreme Court ruling in 2022 overturning the landmark Roe v. Wade decision that guaranteed women's right to abortion. It's a good issue for Democrats in an election where they're hunting for issues that are good for them, said Kyle Kondik, of the Center for Politics at the University of Virginia. Pretty clearly the public opinion is closer to them on abortion rights than it is to the Republican position. That advantage was illustrated in a campaign video Biden released on Monday that blamed Trump personally for the court's abortion ruling, pointing out that the decision had depended on the votes of 3 conservative justices appointed by him when he was president. According to Murray, the president's only route to victory is to intensify and broaden such attacks to woo a bloc of an estimated 6 to 7 million anti-Trump voters who backed Biden last time but have cooled on him and are inclined to sit out the forthcoming election. "Those are the voters I'd be going after if I was Biden," he said. There's a host of issues: Roe v. Wade, January 6, book banning, but the real issue is that Donald Trump represents a change in how the government deals with your personal freedoms. That's the kind of thing that can move this group of voters sitting on the fence. This group was for Biden. If he can win them back, he moves the needle 4 points in his direction and we're talking about an entirely different ballgame.